While Douglas and Stowe portrayed the failures of American society, the next two authors, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow and Walt Whitman, extolled its greatness. Indeed, Whitman's faith was so great that he wrote, "The chief reason for the being of the United States of America is to bring about the common goodwill of all mankind, the solidarity of the world."
Walt Whitman was 19th century America's greatest lyric poet, and his slim volume, Leaves of Grass, was a work of genius. Yet Whitman's poetry was so unusual, no publisher would touch it, and he had to publish it himself in 1855.
Afoot and light-hearted, I take to the open road, healthy free, the world before me, the long brown path before me leading wherever I choose. Henceforth, I ask not good fortune. I myself am good fortune.
Born May 31st, 1819 in New York, Whitman grew up in an era of the common man, of resurging democracy, a new democracy that he welcomed with open arms. At the same time, he embraced Emerson's transcendentalism and its reverence for nature and the spiritual life. But Whitman's joy for life in America took him one step farther. As a young man, Whitman underwent a spontaneous experience that transformed him so thoroughly he would be called a mystic. This experience enabled him to bring a unique perspective to life. And as many other mystics, he expressed his insight through writing, poetry in particular, influencing America by the sheer force of his lyric commentary. President Abraham Lincoln would read Whitman's Leaves of Grass and recite it to others. Whitman injected his poetry with the vitality and variety of his own life, embracing subjects that others kept at a distance. Indeed, toward the end of his life, Whitman embraced death, seeing it as another kind of transformation.
Whereto answering, the sea, delaying not, hurrying not, whispered me through the night, and very plainly, before daybreak, lisped to me the low and delicious word, death. And again, death, 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 hissing melodious, neither like the bird nor like my aroused child's heart, but edging near as privately for me, rustling at my feet, creeping thence steadily up to my ears, and laving me softly all over. Death, 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 death.
Walt Whitman died on March 26, 1892. But his uniqueness lasted through the decades, finding root in such writers as William Carlos Williams, Jack Kerouac, and Allen Ginsberg. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow was born on February 27, 1807, right here in Portland, Maine. He was a college classmate of Nathaniel Hawthorne, and like Hawthorne, decided as a young man to devote himself to a career as a writer. Growing up during the fledgling years of the United States, Longfellow would draw upon his experiences and the American experience for the straightforward American themes in his narrative poetry. No European poet could have written with such insight, understanding, and enthusiasm about such clearly American subjects as the village blacksmith, the wreck of the Hesperus, and Excelsior. Through them, America of the mid-19th century comes alive again. However, it is the Song of Hiawatha, which is Longfellow's best-known long narrative poem. Not since James Fenimore Cooper had an American writer taken up the cause of Native Americans. For Easterners, far removed from the Indian presence, it painted a picture of nobility and harmony with nature.
On the mountains of the prairie, on the great red pipestone quarry, Gitche Manitou the mighty, he the master of life, descending. From the red stone of the quarry, with his hand he broke a fragment, molded it into a pipe head, shaped and fashioned it with figures. Gitche Manitou the mighty smoked the calumet, the peace pipe.
Lines from Longfellow's poems still resonate with Americans today.
Listen, my children, and you shall hear of the midnight ride of Paul Revere.
Longfellow enjoyed immense popularity in Europe, as he did in the United States, and he was the first American writer to be honored in the Poets' Corner of Westminster Abbey in London. Longfellow died on March 24, 1882. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow was truly an American poet.
Thanks for watching episode 2 of the Great American Authors series. In the next episode, we shall see the generation of American authors following the Civil War. They wrote about anything and everything from anywhere in the country that now stretched from the Atlantic to the Pacific. I'm Jane Kaczmarek.